Elon Musk finally confirmed SpaceX's new latest Starship 2.0, next-generation cargo ship, Starship 2.0. Development of the Starship is advancing successfully. Well, we may have exaggerated in the sense that it may not be sufficient for an entrepreneur with a fast-paced lifestyle like Elon Musk. Elon Musk has finally unveiled the new 18-meter-wide spaceship version 2.0. The Starship is destined to travel great distances, thus it must be constantly modified to go even further. And we will examine every detail in today's video. Starship will be a fully reusable orbital launch and re-entry vehicle with a height of 120 meters or 390 feet, which is 90 meters or 30 feet taller than the Saturn V. The two stages of the rocket are a super heavy booster and a Starship spaceship. Both stages are powered by Raptor and Raptor Vacuum engines, and their bodies are made of SAE 304L stainless steel. Prototypes are flown directly since SpaceX produces Starships through operational testing rather than testing each component separately. Consequently, its design is adaptable. It is anticipated that a single Starship launch will be capable of carrying approximately 100 tons or 220,000 pounds of cargo to low Earth orbit in an entirely reusable form. Starship can transfer cargo to higher Earth orbits, the Moon, Mars, and other solar system destinations by refueling with other Starship tanker ships. Whether passengers or satellites, the rocket is capable of launching virtually any space cargo. Elon Musk has repeatedly emphasized throughout the years that the colonization of Mars is one of the key objectives of the Starship. Musk contends that a 1 million-person Martian metropolis may perhaps be self-sufficient. Without considering population growth, 10,000 crewed starships and 100,000 cargo-carrying starships would be necessary. He estimated that 1 million tons or 2.2 billion pounds of stuff would be transported to Mars. SpaceX has declared their intention to mass-produce Starships and explore the rest of the solar system. The Mars program has been repeatedly delayed, contrary to Musk's optimistic hopes. In a power-to-gas plant on Mars, the Sabatier reaction might be used to produce liquid methane and liquid oxygen, which could power return flights. Carbon dioxide and hydrogen are introduced to a catalyst at high pressures and temperatures in excess of 375 degrees Celsius or 700 degrees Fahrenheit. With nickel, ruthenium, or another transition metal serving as a catalyst, carbon dioxide and hydrogen gas can be extracted from Mars's atmosphere and ice. Energy consumption is inefficient, necessitating a complicated heat control system, and the generated methane must be purified prior to use. SpaceX has been hard at work revising the Starship's design based on the result of practical tests in order to achieve this type of breakthrough. Prototype testing advancement. The SN8 prototype was the first complete Starship prototype, succeeding earlier iterations that steadily improved particular design elements. The vehicle underwent 4 static fire tests between October and November 2020, all of which resulted in pad damage. The third test absorbed pad material into the engine's internals, resulting in an untimely shutdown. The fourth test was successful, and on December 9, 2020, SN8 reached a height of 12.5 kilometers or 5.7 miles in the air before performing the belly flop maneuver. SN8 recovered to vertically shortly prior to landing and attempted to land, but due to a fuel supply failure, it slammed into the landing pad at high speed and was destroyed. 2 months later, on February 2, 2021, the launch of the Starship SN9 followed a virtually identical flight path. It landed with a heavy impact. FAA had inspected both SN8 and SN9 flights because explosion debris posed a threat to the local area. In March 2021, the company proposed a proposal for public construction that included 2 suborbital launch pads, 2 orbital launch pads, 2 landing pads, 2 prototype test stands, and a large propellant tank farm. The corporation also proposed transforming Boca Chica Village into Starbase, which would serve as a suitable location for all future research and testing. The modules SN12, SN13, and SN14 were not fully assembled. SN15, on the other hand, had several construction, software, and engine modifications. On May 5, 2021, the vehicle took to the air and performed the same maneuvers as previous prototypes before landing, completing the first mission successfully. In July 2021, 3 of the Super Heavy B and 3's engines were originally lit, despite the fact that the rocket was never planned to fly. The Starship SN20 was the first to have a body height heat shield made up primarily of black hexagonal heat tiles, while the Super Heavy B and 4 was the first capable of mating with Starships. A month later, SN20 was the first vehicle pair to stack on top of B and 4. In October 2021, the catching mechanical arm of the first launch tower was installed, completing the recovery system, and the last tank insulation cover was installed, completing the first tank farm. In a filing with the Federal Communications Commission, SpaceX outlined a proposed orbital path for the Starship system's inaugural voyage. The rocket will launch from Starbase, detach, and land approximately 30 kilometers or 19 miles from the Texas coastline. The spacecraft will continue on its terrestrial course over the Straits of Florida before making a soft landing approximately 100 kilometers or 60 miles northwest of Kauai. Musk questioned the magnitude of SpaceX's next Super Heavy launch system on Twitter in 2019. As he posted footage of a test conducted by a drone. Musk asserts that the next-generation system, dubbed Starship 2.0, would be twice as large as the vessel that will take humans and goods to the Moon and Mars. In answer to a question from one of his large Twitter followers, Musk made the remark. They wanted to know if Musk planned to develop a larger, more faithful to the original idea version of the Starship in the future. The Super Heavy booster element will measure at least 70 meters in height and exert up to 9,000 kN of force. This will be accomplished by 30 Raptor engines optimized for sea level and 7 Raptor engines calibrated for vacuum. Musk's most recent statement suggests that the Starship 2.0 will be twice as large, measuring approximately 240 meters in height and 18 meters in width. According to Tesla Rotty's Eric Ralph, calculating the area and volume implied by this diameter provides intriguing findings. By doubling the rocket's height and width, its surface area and fuel tank volume are increased by a factor of 8. This necessitates that the launch vehicle weigh 8 times as much as Starship 1.0 and generate 8 times as much thrust. However, the SpaceX Super Heavy Starship 2.0's height may be limited. According to Tavera Vashini on Twitter, rocket height is limited by thrust per area. This may indicate that the SpaceX Super Heavy Starship 2.0 will have a capacity comparable to the Sea Dragon. Despite the fact that the Starship 2.0 would require 4 times as many engines, 120 to 150 Raptors for the new Super Heavy and 24 for the Starship 2.0, the structure would only need twice as much steel and heat shielding. Welding and ring stacking operations would also be increased, although by the time Mk2 enters production, there will be primarily automated processes. Therefore, a Starship 2.0 may be far less expensive than 4 of its predecessors, not half as much, but not 4 times as much either. By traveling between spaceports on Earth, the vehicle may be able to facilitate point-to-point flights more efficiently than the original Starship. SpaceX has called the vehicle Earth-to-Earth. According to the business, this mode of transportation will take 39 minutes to go between New York City and Shanghai. President and Chief Operating Officer of SpaceX, Gwynne Shotwell, believes it will be cost-competitive with business-class travel in the future. According to John Logsdon, an expert on space politics and history, point-to-point travel would be impractical due to the need for high acceleration rates. Perhaps the Starship 2.0 will have a variation with a slower speed. Who can say? Certainly, this is only speculation at the moment. Nonetheless, it cannot be denied that this is a fascinating idea. Musk's remark to a next-generation spacecraft with twice the diameter of the current Starship reflects his ambitious nature. It remains to be seen what transpires, but Elon Musk has a well-documented habit of shocking people. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel for more new videos.